can see in the grey jersey, it's Mathieu van der Poel. Up there as well, wearing number 17 is Tim Wellens, waiting, ready to go. Trentin is there, and it's Pedersen now who's going to attack. It's the former world champion, Mats Pedersen, being followed by another man who knows all about the rainbow bands. It's Pedersen and Mathieu van der Poel who've managed to distance the rest on the time bank. And now Mathieu van der Poel starts to really press down on the pedals. The former world champion at the front in his grey jersey, representing Alpecin Koenig. The man who won Milan-San Remo for the second time in 3 years at the weekend. He's hoping to double up and retain the title he took 12 months ago here. Off into the gutter he goes. That'll be barriered off in 9 days' time for the Ronde van Vlaanderen. There's a little gap from Mats Pedersen to Filippo Ganna, and for Emre Gent and Kasper Pedersen, it's hang-on time. It's the former world champions who are pulling away here. Hannah, you called it, you said it. They are those riders who this is much more suited to. It's now over to Pedersen to see if he can hang on.
Now Pedersen on the uneven surface there as it starts to really kick up, struggling to hold on to the wheel of the Dutchman.
And that could be that. That could be that. Mathieu van der Poel going away halfway up the Quaremont into the village and continuing to power on. Mats Pedersen's resistance ceases and Mathieu van der Poel finds himself alone. Once again, signing out as winner after a demonstration is Mathieu van der Poel.
Mathieu van der Poel says, I'm going to go for this. So difficult at 22% to get going again. Look at that, even if the chain's back on, it's an absolute nightmare, and so it is that Mathieu van der Poel pushes on. Poor old Ivan Garcia has found himself in no man's land essentially, and that is Jorgensen that's trying to stay with him. This is getting very selective. Jorgensen's back wheel spinning up as well here on the mud and guts, I think you might say. What a horrible scenario, and plenty of others having to dismount as well. That's Matej Mohoric just takes his swings his leg off. If anybody is in front of you that gets into trouble, you are going to be as well, Robbie. Lose drive, you just got to pick it up and run. Mathieu van der Poel cannot be stopped, and today was just not going to be such a scenario. He's owned the day, and now he crosses the line, owning our appreciation and our hearts. What a rider, and what a ride. That was absolutely magnificent. This brought me home. He says, no, Mathieu, you brought us home to this position. Absolutely magnificent.
It's Mathieu van der Poel. It is Narvaez. Kung is there. Oh, and he's down. You could just see Wout van Aert losing grip, losing balance. Wout van Aert is down, and getting going from that again on the Paterberg is almost impossible.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take one monumental effort here for him to get back on there. What happened was Van der Poel came in, Van Aert was on the left-hand side, but Kung swung in front of him. Van Aert tried to go right to get around him, but just lost it on that bit. But Van der Poel.
This is a horrible hill. It's short, but it's steep. It is hellish. Lascano was out there with 7 seconds going on to it, and now Van der Poel is sailing away from him. Up the biggest gradient, his big rivals at the back, contrasting fortunes for both of them, and the race now is on yet again. It's Paterberg advantage to Mathieu van der Poel, and as we now go to the Quaremont, it's everything to do, and almost a miracle required for Wout van Aert. Van der Poel across the line, he ticks off another, and one of the biggest classics in the world has now been added to a perfect palmarès.
It's now that he decides to launch. The body language changes. Tom Pidcock knows all about it. Straight out of the saddle, and he's launching right from the beginning of this climb. It goes on for a little bit. We've got several hundred meters of this, and it's Tom Pidcock alive to the first salvo being fired. Well, it's probably the second salvo, the first of those coming with about 80k remaining on Santa Maria. And he's fighting to try and stay in here, and it looks as if Tadej Pogačar could be putting a little bit of daylight for the first time between himself and Tom Pidcock, who sits back in the saddle. But has he got enough? He continues to resist, but can he stay in there? Several bike lengths emerge, and the huge crowds are urging on both riders. But Tadej Pogačar is finally detaching himself from Tom Pidcock, and he's not going to look around again before he reaches the top of this climb. Tadej Pogačar going for glory, and Pidcock seemingly can do nothing about it. Making history and giving us these remarkable and wonderful images, and for a man who's won the Tour de France on 3 occasions. He's taken 17 stage victories in France along the way. He's won no less than 4 editions of Lombardia, a couple of Liège-Bastogne-Liège. He's got the World Championship. He's won countless other bike races, including this one on 2 previous occasions. But I think this one is one he's really going to remember. And that's the final ramp at the top of Via Santa Caterina, and into the moment where he can really soak it up. Tadej Pogačar is your winner of Strade Bianche 2025.
Watch the legs, watch the cadence of Tadej Pogačar, watch the gap back to Mads Pedersen, because it's cracking open already. I think there's a little gap to Pedersen. Watch him, because I think Sturben's also in trouble, and we're going to see it. We're boiling up the 2 best riders in the race, and Wout van Aert is seeing them go past him. Tadej Pogačar now turning it on. What has Mathieu van der Poel got left? I think he's in his big gear there. He is really pressing on the pedals to try and stay with Tadej Pogačar. There's a bike length gap. Can he take more? What can Mathieu van der Poel do to stay with the world champion? It's cracking open, Hutch.
He's cracking. Pogačar is opening. I didn't think he was going to do this on the Eau de Quarmont on the last climb. I just thought it was going to be, too close to the finish for Pogačar to drop.
No, it's done. It is done. You're absolutely right, John. Mathieu van der Poel is turning squares, and Tadej Pogačar's turning silky smooth circles. Mathieu van der Poel looks back. Tadej Pogačar's riding clear. Is this it in this year's Tour of Flanders? Tadej Pogačar going for his second win, and Mathieu van der Poel vying today to become the greatest male rider in the history of this, the greatest of all one-day classics. Look at this. Look at the crowd who know it. On the Eau de Quarmont, we're not even onto the Paterberg yet. It could yet come together again in the gap in between. How easy does Tadej Pogačar look? Arms in the air, he takes the crowd. The applause of Augenade, and well he might. Tadej Pogačar, what a sporting superstar. 81 kilometers to go. Make a note of that number, because Tadej Pogačar, who went on a 50-kilometer solo raid 2 years ago, has taken off, and nobody can match his power. It's a long way to the finish here in these epic, as you described, Dan Lloyd, biblical conditions.
It's a long way to go. Doesn't matter who you are, even if you are Pogačar, 81 kilometres on your own is an awful long way to go solos. I'm surprised he's gone not to try to take at least somebody with him that's prepared to work, prepared to try and take it all the way to the finish line.
Every moment recorded for the memory, because Tadej Pogačar might never do anything like this again. That was unique. This is Pogačar, and there is nobody at all like him.
Here we go, Jonas Vingegaard is off. We've waited for this moment at the start of the season. We have liftoff from Jonas Vingegaard, and who can go with him? Let's see. 1 year ago, we saw him shred this race to pieces across 2 road stages and then that incredible time trial at the very end of the race. And he started this one just how he left off last year. We saw him take off the rain jacket. It was like a waving of a white flag, ready to go, and he's off. Jonas Vingegaard looked over his shoulder and gone again. It might just be that he needs the gradient maybe, and it constantly changes. They're ever so slightly downhill, a bit of a false flat here. It might be that he needs a bit more of a consistent climb to make it count. 5k to go to the finish. Jonas Vingegaard, do you know, what a ride by Alex Molinar, Ian. It is really impressive, this. Having been in that breakaway, just as I say it, he's lost about a bike length. The audacity to hang on, he's hung on as long as he can, and as soon as I pick it out, of course, it's just being dispatched. What a shame.
Vingegaard goes again.
This will be it. This should be it. But let's not forget, the finish is not at the top of this climb. The finish is nearly 3 kilometres over the top and downhill. So he'll have a time trial of his own to do. Now he knows he's clear. It's taken a while to get clear, and he's actually only got 800 metres left of the climb anyway. But last year's victor, Jonas Vingegaard, is now going clear. It hasn't looked crushingly dominant as it was 1 year ago on those 2 road stages, but it's certainly been good enough to get him clear of a very, very elite climbing group.
Vingegaard absolutely flying down this descent.
This is going to be a fascinating chase. We know that Jonas Vingegaard is one of the best time trialists in this field. He's a good descender too as well, not necessarily amongst the very best of them within a field like this, but it shouldn't cause him too many problems. Plus he's got clear space all around him to take exactly the lines he wants to through these corners. And Jonas Vingegaard is going to take the win. It will just be just a moment or two until he gets his hands in the air, but he'll keep driving towards the line because this is time gaps over a very, very strong chasing lead. Down onto the drops, out of the saddle. He knows he's done it now. We haven't yet seen the smile, but we will do in just a moment. Jonas Vingegaard kisses his ring, bangs his chest, and wins the stage.
In the Gran Camino. Another dominant ride by Jonas Vingegaard. Look at the rain pouring, a lot of detritus on the road as well. But checks the gap. Jonas Vingegaard takes the final stage and wins back-to-back editions.